Hey, welcome to this week's podcast. We thought this is kind of a timely episode because we're going to talk about just the things we've got to deal with leading up to Christmas and some of the pressures and some of the stresses that are attached to this time of the year.
Yeah.
There's plenty,
There's
really.
a lot.
Yeah,
There's
and
a
just
real lot.
how, hopefully, or Jane will definitely help to guide you through some of these pressures and how to kind of resolve them. So I suppose, for me as a parent, Christmas was always just such a busy time. You're having to think about presents and, if you're hosting or if you're contributing to cooking, there's a lot to kind of organise.
Yeah.
Plus the kids are ratty because it's end of school term.
Everyone's
tired and exhausted come the end of the year.
And then there's lots of parties or events.
Totally. And then your kids are not eating perhaps the foods that, serve them best. So that further exacerbates their mood issues, too much sugar at school and all of the play dates and things.
Yeah.
Then you head into Christmas time and your kids are given foods, again, by well-meaning relatives or grandparents that, again, you're, not particularly happy with. Then, just you're dealing with different family dynamics and your routines and your boundaries are stretched.
Yes.
So where do you want to start?
We're really selling it, aren't we? Christmas.
Where do you want to start?
Oh, I think just acknowledging like it is, especially I don't know, in the year 2024.
Yep.
Like it's hectic.
Yes.
Everyone's just full. Life is full. And I think the first thing is coming to Christmas, really acknowledging that for yourself as a parent or caregiver and for your kids. Most kids are really exhausted by the end of the year. And I know I'm definitely exhausted. And I know for me, like October, I'm like, okay, I need a holiday. But November's that real peak of parties and just all this
social
extra stuff. Yeah. And I think what's really important to remember is it's okay to say no. You don't have to do all the things or you can do the things, but to the extent that you can do them. So if you're invited to a party, you can go until 9. It's okay to go early. But just to kind of pace yourself and to give yourself permission to do what feels nourishing for you and to do what feels like it fills you well. And I feel like since COVID, what I've noticed around me is people are changing in regards to Christmas. I feel like people are starting to see through all the commercialization of Christmas and are starting to get curious about what's this about?
Yeah.
And what do I want for me and my family? And I've loved seeing that, that people are just like, I cannot maintain this ridiculous pace of Christmas, like that we're meant to do all these things and have all these things. And so I think it is really normalizing that it's about spending time with the people you love, that in Australia we have that time off. We have a holiday over that time. So it is letting yourself stop. And whether you go away or you stay at home, it's letting everything slow down.
Yeah.
And it's kind of taking pressure off yourself and getting really curious about like presents, for example. What do I want my kids to, what's this about?
Yeah. As my kids have gotten older, we kind of try to stick with experiences.
Yeah.
For presents.
Awesome.
Which, just feels really good because they have enough stuff.
Oh, that's the thing. We all do.
Yeah.
We all have, I think we're overwhelmed with so much stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to get really curious about that with little kids. Little kids actually get overwhelmed with too many presents.
Yes.
In our culture, we're kind of taught more is better. And I don't think I don't agree with that.
Yep.
I see that kids that get something really special that they can really value, I think that is what Christmas is about.
Yeah.
But I actually think that's better for their little psyches and their spirits than them getting 15 things and not being able to value any and not knowing where to start. So it's kind of getting curious about what you want for yourself and unpacking what we've been sold a little bit, because we've been sold this commercial, you got to buy this Christmas and your kids have got to have this. And so, getting really curious about what do I want for myself and my family, and that it's okay that you kind of honor what your family, as in you and your partner and your kids, want for Christmas, because it can be easy to get sucked into the broader family.
Yep.
And all the dramas and all the fights around whose place we're going to and who's going to do what. And in that, again, I think we lose the point. Like, the point of Christmas is to get together, to enjoy one another's company, to catch up. It's not about all the other small kind of bickery stuff that's going on. So I think leading up to Christmas, I'd invite you to start thinking about what you value, what you want for yourself, knowing you can make choices for you and your family depending on the year you've had.
Yep.
You know, sometimes it's okay to choose as a family, let's just have our own Christmas this year. And maybe we'll catch up with aunts and uncles after New Year's when things have chilled out. I think it's knowing that you can shift things up and you can make choices for yourself as an adult for what works for you and your family, and to give yourself permission to let go of any guilt or any projections that might come from the wider family around how it should be. It's like, I hear you say that, and this is what I'm going to do this year. Yeah.
And with your kids, I mean, this really is a time where, you know, we've talked a lot throughout the year on the podcast about the importance of boundaries and structure and routine, but just as important is in holiday time to sort of loosen those boundaries and structure and routine and be okay with that, right?
Yeah.
Because they're there and you can come back to them at any time. But if you're on holiday and having a break.
Yeah. And I mean, it depends what the boundary and the routine is, right? So for me, I still want my kids to be kind and have nice manners.
Sure.
So I still want them to say thank you to the waiter or to be kind to their cousins.
Yep.
But, we're going to relax the routine on we all get up at 7 and then we do this and then we do that and then we do this. That can relax.
Yeah.
So it depends on the boundaries and the routines, in my view.
Yeah, good point.
So, and around food, that might relax a little bit because you're getting more of that festive food coming in.
Yeah. But again, still being a bit mindful, you know, like going into like a celebratory meal, knowing that your kids are probably going to be fed a whole heap of sweet stuff that you ordinarily wouldn't be feeding them, or having soft drink or whatever it is. So then perhaps being conscious of, for me, I always try and kind of counterbalance things, think, okay, we're going to have a really protein-rich breakfast.
Yeah, 100%.
Or talking to your kids before heading to lunch and saying, hey, before you get stuck into all the chocolate and the dessert, make sure that you have some meat and some vegetables.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that, like we've spoken about heaps, it plants that seed again. Like, well, the
and you're educating them, you're guiding them about the natural order of things.
Yeah,
and
the chocolate will be there.
Yeah.
Just have a little bit of this and a little bit of that first, and then try the chocolate. Yeah. And
then when they come home with the tummy ache after Christmas Day and they haven't chosen so well, you connect the dots.
Exactly. Gently.
Connect the dots about why they perhaps aren't feeling so great.
Yeah.
Because you've sat there and watched them, like I have so many times, you know, go to town on the bowl of chocolates on the table or whatever.
Yeah. I think for us in Australia, it's summer as well. So it's kind of having lots of that time just together and outside and actually letting go of the, you know, when school's on, you've got to have that strict routine and you've got to have more boundaries in place or it's just too hard.
Yep.
But in holiday time, it's, allowing more of that slow pace, that relaxed way of being together, that trying different things out, that letting all of your nervous systems kind of fill up again, you know, like as in getting enough time to relax and enough time to kind of, what's the word? Defrag. That's not the right word, but you know what I mean? Like of let go of the stress of a big year.
Yeah. And heading into Christmas Day, I know for a lot of people, you know, Christmas Day might mean spending time with family members who you perhaps don't enjoy normally spending time with. But there's that obligation. So do you have any advice for that? Like heading into, you know, and then you're feeling stressed and anxious about, I don't know, seeing an obnoxious uncle or someone that really rubs you up the wrong way.
Yeah. I think then it's giving yourself permission to hold a boundary and to only reveal as much of yourself as you want to reveal, as in being authentic, but kind of just talking about the weather.
Yeah.
And giving yourself permission to say, lovely to see you, Uncle Barry. I'm just going to go grab a drink of water.
Yeah.
And to kind of not feel you've got to stay there if it doesn't feel nourishing for you. Because, again, your kids are watching you. You're modeling different things to your kids. And it is okay to say, I don't like when you talk to me like that, or if you keep talking to me like that, then I'm going to leave. It is okay to set boundaries with relations.
Yeah.
And for your kids, like to let them know they can say no if someone wants a hug and they don't feel like a hug, or they don't have to kiss everyone there, or they can come up to you at any time. Because it's kind of a big deal, the big family get-togethers.
Yeah, the big family ones,
all the relational dynamics and and especially if there's alcohol involved. And I think it's giving yourself permission to stand in your adultness and to take care of you in the way that you need to take care of you. And if that means you offend Uncle Barry to keep yourself or your kids safe, then so be it.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Because I think there's so many norms that go through families that are unhealthy and are not helpful. And I think it's okay to say, no, I'm not going to tolerate that anymore. Just draw a line in the sand. I find that it helps shift dynamics in a more positive way.
Yeah. And then is there anything else that you can think of with Christmas being like problematic or stressful for families?
All I can think of is like there's just so much going on.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of pacing yourself. So if you can, get out early and buy presents. And if you can't, that's okay. It's remembering what's important.
I think also maintaining your own healthy habits as well.
Definitely.
Whether
your own self-care.
Totally, your own self-care, getting up, going for a walk if that's what makes you feel good.
Yes.
Doing things that actually make you feel good in preparation for perhaps events or situations that might not be nourishing. But look, for a lot of people, obviously Christmas is also extremely nourishing, isn't it? Almost too nourishing.
Yeah. Well, that, and when you have your kids on holidays, it's remembering your needs are important too, and your needs are equal. Because I know for myself, I'd get swept up in, and my kids would be leading me around the nose, and then I'd be exhausted and frustrated and resentful.
Yes.
And it's okay to kind of go, no, I need to do this.
Yeah.
I need to have a rest day, or I need to go for a walk, or and you're welcome to come, or no, we need to have a nice healthy dinner. It's important for you to kind of honor your needs as well during that long 8-week Christmas period. That is a true marathon of parenting. So it's like kind of really putting
the build up, isn't it? And then it's the come down afterwards of kind of regaining control and reestablishing boundaries and routines and healthy habits, which we'll talk about next year. When we return, we're actually going to enforce some self-imposed off time where we're not going to be doing the podcast. We're going to have a proper break with our families. We're going to model to you
totally
some healthy habits, which is, as I said, switching off and actually having a break. So
time together.
Yeah, absolutely. So you won't hear from us for a few weeks, but we will be back in the new year and with lots more great topics. And we'll definitely be talking about getting back on track come January and start a school term and all of the normal things that we're not going to think about now because we've got Christmas to enjoy.
Just have a lovely, nourishing Christmas. Remember, it's all about family.
Have an amazing Christmas, and we'll see you next year.
Cool.